So we have some spoilers for chapter 35, and it seems like Sarada is gonna be training with an Uzumaki. This might not be the case, but there's a very good reason why it might be. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first panel shows Sarada putting on some glasses, and based on what we know from the prior chapter, Sarada needed some new prescriptions because her vision got worse based on her usage of the Mangekyo. So these are the new glasses that should help for now. Now, what is more so interesting about these spoilers is we have a kunai landing in front of Sarada. We can see based on the speed lines there that is coming from above her. And as we know, there's always a reason why a writer would draw attention to a minor detail. And as we see here, Sarada points out that there's a spiral pattern on the kunai. Now, logically, everyone would assume that it's Boruto making an entrance before Sarada, but why would he need to do so? Let's say Boruto is in the sky hovering from above, or he's on top of a building, why not simply descend to the ground before Sarada instead of sending a kunai just to teleport, which of course is wasting chakra, but also it just doesn't make sense to do so, it's a waste of time. Unless, of course, Boruto is trying to remain undetected, so he simply throws a kunai from above where no one can see him. Maybe he uses the Byakugan to ensure that it lands directly in front of Sarada because that improves accuracy, and then he can teleport into the village without anyone seeing him fly or descend into the village. I think that does make sense, but it is the most boring option. There's also the fact that Kobu already knows that Boruto is working with Shikamaru, so trying to hide at this point seems a bit futile, and then to teleport in the middle of the street in front of the hospital that Sarada is just leaving now kinda defeats the entire purpose. Or maybe Boruto simply threw the kunai to Sarada so she could keep it, that way he could teleport next to her at any point in time, or maybe to someplace a bit more quiet, you know, because he doesn't want to be exposed. I think that does make logical sense, and thus the title of this video will turn out to not be correct, but we're gonna have a bit more fun anyway. And the reason why this even became a possibility of any kind is because the writer simply drew attention to the spiral pattern on the kunai. Why would he do that? And as we know, the spiral pattern is linked to the Uzumaki. So what if, let's say Boruto is somehow working with Orochimaru or Karin Uzumaki, and Karin simply drew the symbol on the kunai, which Boruto will then use to teleport Karin to Sarada. Because as we know, Boruto uses the symbols on the kunais or the shurikens to decide which one to teleport to, and of course he can then send people to those symbols as well. That's a function of Flying Raijin. And who knows, maybe Karin has some information on what can be done about the Mangekyo blindness. It could be something she developed herself, or maybe something she worked on with Orochimaru and she's the one delivering it to Sarada. That of course is way more interesting than Boruto simply wanting to aura farm in front of Sarada by simply flying into the village and then teleporting in front of her for no reason, or maybe he wants to hide. Those are the two other possibilities, and while I can say that they are more plausible, they're also infinitely more boring. I think it's time to pay off the multiple hints about some future connection between Sarada and Orochimaru that was littered throughout the entire manga for multiple years. I mean, what was the point of Sarada meeting Orochimaru in Naruto Gaiden? Or the thing with the cards where Kawaki got the Naruto card, Boruto got the Sasuke card, and Sarada pulled the Orochimaru card. What was the point of all that? And the multiple hints with Boruto being in Orochimaru's hideout with the snakes on the wall and the scales on the wall and all that stuff, where was it all leading up to if Sarada doesn't get some assistance from Orochimaru when it comes to the Mangekyo? I think that is the logical conclusion. And as you know, Orochimaru did do multiple experiments on the Mangekyo. We do have Shin Uchiha to thank for that. So it is plausible that the main way to get Sarada to not go blind is to incorporate whatever nonsense Orochimaru has been up to this entire time. And we can also squeeze in Karin there for good measure because she does have a relationship with Sarada, which was explored way more in the anime, by the way, but we do have some hints in the manga as well because she was the one who delivered Sarada and also gave her the first prescription glasses. So as you can see, it is plausible that Boruto simply gave the kunai to someone to give it to Sarada, and based on the characters we know, there are only two characters that would throw the kunai at Sarada instead of simply giving it to her, and that would either be Kawaki or Delta, both of whom have the ability to fly. So this might be a case of misdirection where everyone is supposed to think it's just Boruto R farming when it's something a bit more interesting, but it could also be the case that it's just Ikimoto giving us blue balls again because he loves, hinting at the Uzumaki and Orochimaru connection with Sarada and nothing happens. I guess we'll see. I did see some theories about it being Minato, which doesn't make sense because obviously Minato is dead and Boruto doesn't have any resurrection powers as far as we know. And also, if it was Minato, why would he need to place a symbol on the kunai? Why not simply throw the kunai and then teleport towards her? That simply doesn't make sense. I also saw some theories saying that it's Code. And of course, we know there's this long-running theory that Code is a missing Uzumaki because he has the hair color. But Code, of course, doesn't have FTG, so why would he be throwing a kunai? Now there of course is the possibility that Code is trying to bait Sarada to make her believe that it's Boruto because she should know that is how Boruto operates. And Code of course has been watching Boruto for multiple years, so he probably knows as well. So he's gonna make Sarada think that it's Boruto's kunai and he's going to pull her into the kunai with a claw mark that we can't see at this point in time. So that's why I think Code could possibly play into it, because I don't see why Code would have the ability to use FTG. I don't think that makes sense. Though I would say, to be honest, if we put aside the fun theories, the most plausible option is that Boruto is simply giving Sarada the kunai from above because he doesn't want to descend into the village so someone would see him. Because obviously Boruto has the power to suppress his chakra, so he could hover in the sky and no one would ever see him. And the simple reason why Ikimoto drew attention to the spiral pattern on the kunai is so that Sarada knows that it's a kunai from Boruto. Because I'm not entirely sure if Sarada knows how Boruto's FTG functions. I doubt it was explained to her that he places the symbols on the kunais. So maybe this is Boruto's hint to Sarada because he drew the Uzumaki symbol, and of course Boruto is the last Uzumaki in the village. So if Sarada's IQ is above room temperature, she should be able to put 2 and 2 together and figure out that this is Boruto's kunai, right? Simple, makes sense, nothing crazy. So yeah, we might see Boruto and Sarada finally have a proper conversation about what's happening and how they feel about whatever situation, or even about themselves, the relationship between them. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that's it for the video. If you guys liked it, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.